Alright, so we got my VBL-S Season 5 Championship Team Review. Um, in case you didn't know my team, all the mons are on the screen, just chilling in the background picture. But yeah, I'm just gonna review my team, how it did, what worked, what didn't, and what I thought of the format. So let's go to the MVPs, which is Aerodactyl and Abomisto. I think this one was pretty obvious choice. Like, these two definitely put in so much work throughout the season. Abomisto getting 24 kills, 11 deaths, and I brought it almost every single game. I'm pretty sure I brought it to like 90% of my games. It was only 9 points out of 20. So very good value. Aerodactyl, 13 points, brought it to 16 games, 12-11 KD, which is not bad considering it's going to be clicking something like Taunt or Tailwind turn 1, and it's still surviving and getting KOs. Yeah, so I think these two worked pretty well together because there aren't many mons that can resist their stabs. Like, there's like maybe 3 good steel types in this format. You got Metagross, you got yeah, I can't think of anything at the moment, but there just aren't many steel types. Like, my steel type was Wormadam. That's like how bad the steel types are in this format. But yeah, and many of the top tiers don't really want to take hits from Abomisto. Like, a lot of the best mons in the format are dragon types or flying types, or like not like ice or steel types, which is the only resist to Abomisto. And like I said, there aren't many good steel types, and ice types are just not good unless you're Abomisto, because you can spam Blizzard. But yeah, mons like Salamence, Garchomp, Togekiss, Lotties, they just don't want to deal with Abomisto. And the lack of coverage in this format gives Abomisto more more bulk in a way, because stuff like the Lotties, they don't have access to Mystical Fire, so they don't have a way to really hit Abomisto and OHKO it, but Abomisto can OHKO in return. And that's the case for a lot of mons. Losing like fire coverage really benefits Abomisto, and it can just tank hits and return, high base power stabs. Aerodactyl is just very fast in this format. No Regieleki. There's only 4 other mons that either speed tie or are faster, and it's like the faster mons are not that great. It's like Ninjask and Electrode, which is not really what you want to be bringing every game. The mons that speed tie, I think, are Crobat and Jolteon, but those are both on the same team, so it wasn't too much of a big deal. But yeah, basically I'd say the second fastest Tailwind, because you have Prankster Tailwind, but after Murkrow, it's the fastest Tailwind, tied with Crobat. And Unnerve is just so good. You have consistent damage when Unnerve is up, and you just like it's just easier to kill things. You can have less damage output, but because the enemy has less recovery or less damage resistance, you usually win those fights. Yeah, so not just Tailwinds, but you have Taunt, you have Wide Guard, you have Whirlwind, and I've brought all of those to games. And then you got the Rock Slide spam, which is, you know, the best move in VGC, and you just click it at 130 base speed and just hope to hit and flinch everything. So speaking of spread move spam, we got Blizzard, which Abomasnow can reliably spam because of the hail, and it's just so good. It does so much damage for being a spread move, and like in this format when everything's just weaker, it can 2-hit KO a lot of things, especially when you consider the hail chip and the fact that people don't really want to bring berries against my team. But yeah, there's not many mons that resist it. Like I said earlier, I think I forgot water types, but yeah, I mean, you don't really want to bring Abomasnow in front of water type because it has grass coverage too. Hail is definitely a double-edged sword. Like, it does chip away at my enemies and break their focus sashes, but it also does the same to my team. Like, my enemies can't reliably bring focus sash, but I can't either if I'm leading Abomasnow. Yeah, so most games I ended up giving sash to Abomasnow actually, because it was the only thing that could use the sash because of hail. But yeah, that's the one downside to Abomasnow on my team. But it really wasn't that big of a deal because most of the time I didn't need Focus Sash, and I'd like the only thing that could use Focus Sash aside from Abomasnow was Aerodactyl, but Aerodactyl could also use stuff like Weakness Berries or Lumberry. Yeah, and the last downside of this these two mons that they just don't get many moves. Like, you can run physical Abomasnow, but it's just weaker because you can't press Blizzard, and you know, you get the recoil from Woodhammer, which isn't very appealing if you have Focus Sash. But yeah, it learns like 3 special moves, like Water Pulse, Shadow Ball, and Focus Blast, and none of those are that great. It really misses Earth Power, and Aerodactyl just learns no flying moves other than it learns Aerial Ace, and that's it. So most of the times you're just better off clicking Rock Slide. Its coverage is like Dragon Claw, and that's pretty much it. I think it gets Earthquake, but yeah. I think they have really good stabs, but just outside of that, no coverage. And like, you can run mixed Abomasnow, but it's not gonna do much damage. So yeah, let's move on to the next slide, which is the bulky damage mons. Arcanine and Nidoqueen. Arcanine was my most expensive mon at 18, brought it to 13 games, and 10, 5 KD. Nidoqueen was 10, brought it to 15, and 12, 6 KD. Now, these mons were able to tank hits and KO things pretty reliably. In the weakened format, like, Nidoqueen might do less damage than Nidoking, but in this format it doesn't need that extra damage to KO things, because most things are just weak. Like, you don't have stuff like Celesteela just tanking hits. Sheer Force Life Orb is enough to just Oka things with coverage. And being able to KO something, take a hit, and then KO something else the next turn, or do a lot of damage is very valuable. And that's what these two were able to do on my team. Arcanine also gets like support moves and recovery, which is helpful. But yeah, Intimidate, Flash Fire, very good for my team. Especially like Intimidate, go through the Slowking. Flash Fire, good for you know, Abomasnow, Wormadam. Just any sort of fire weakness I have on my team, just being immune to that is just so nice. Especially playing against Sun teams. But yeah, these two mons are also able to run special or physical pretty reliably. Like Arcanine's move pool especially is pretty bad. I don't think I actually used it, but the burn up was pretty tempting some weeks. And yeah, it just doesn't get many special moves, but it's got the stats to run special moves. Nidoqueen has higher attack, but the main thing is that there's no, like, Earth Power is just very strong, and Earthquake is not sheer force boosted. But it gets Poison Jab, it gets I think it gets the punches. It gets like, it might get Sucker Punch, I don't remember, but it does get a lot of physical moves, and it gets a lot of coverage in general, which is very good in this format where like nothing gets coverage. Nidoqueen having coverage is just so nice because I don't need to bring like Slowking every game or Abomasnow every game for ice coverage because I have Ice Beam. I don't need to bring Pikachu for electric coverage because I can just run Thunderbolt. And having all those moves on one Mon is just very nice, especially when that Mon can you know, is a bulky damage dealer, can take hits and deal damage. These two mons are very valuable. They weren't doing crazy things like Abomasnow, but it was consistent, and that's very nice to just fall back on. So we got the value picks: Wormadam and Spiritomb. Spiritomb was actually decently costly at 11, but I think it's just very tanky, and it just keeps taking hits and debuffing the enemy and just won't die. I brought it 8 games, 6-4 KD, Wormadam, 4 games, bad KD, but I think that's more because of bad RNG from in that Deity game. But yeah, these two have really good typings, and they don't do much damage, but they just stay on the field and they don't leave. Like Spiritomb just sits there and will just Snarl or Will-O-Wisp or Nightshade, whatever, and then Pain Split when you do damage, or rest if you want. And Wormadam will just Quiver Dance, become unkillable, and will sweep your team. Steel Bug typing is just so good. Only one weakness, there's just so many things. And a lot of the top tier mons can't hit Wormadam for super effective because fire coverage just got thrown out the window. Like, Mystical Fire is gone. A lot of things lost Heat Wave. You know, just so much coverage gone. So this type combination just walls so many things because you can't hit it for super effective, and just resists a lot of like it resists Dragon, Psychic, Fairy, you know. But yeah, it does get decent coverage, you know. Steel Bug. Then you got the other forms, even though I didn't use them, you got ground coverage, the rock coverage. And with the grass one, I think it's just grass coverage. With the steel one, you got psychic and shadow ball for coverage, which is not the best, but it's alright. You mainly picked it for the setup potential and the ability to wall so many things. Now for Spiritomb, Spiritomb is just bulky in this format because there's like 3 or 4 good fairy types and just so little fairy coverage. Like, I think Arcanine gets play rough and Ursaring gets play rough. I can't think of anything that just learns fairy moves. Maybe Vileplume learns Moonblast, but yeah, it's just so bulky. It just stays on the field and will just debuff your team and can't fake it out. And it can just heal off your team with Pain Split. It's consistent damage too. You can pick Nightshade, or if your opponent's weak to one of its types, you just bring that type for coverage. And yeah, these mons definitely won me a couple of games. Spiritomb was good against Steve and Electric, and Wormadam was good against Daddy and Electric. Although it did get taxed in that game, so against Daddy, which is sad. So now we got the fake out duo. Pikachu, 7 points, 6 games, 3-2 KD. Hitmonlee, 10 points, 9 games, 12-5 KD. I like these. I like Pikachu because it's like Raichu, but a little worse, but it can have Light Ball, and Light Ball is decently viable in this format because it is going to be faster than a lot of things. It's not going to die, and you know, it can do a good amount of damage when everything's just weaker defensively. It's also nice because I don't have the Sash syndrome on my team, and I don't need it to hold Sash, especially when the Abomasnow is coming to most games. I don't have to rely on Sash. I can just give a Light Ball, and I can give I don't need Sash on him only either, because I can give it White Herb or Lumberry, or yeah, those are the main items that I've used. Lightning Rod support is very good for Aerodactyl. Like, the Fake Out plus Tailwind plus Lightning Rod is just a very good lead. You also got Faint Pressure from both of these mons, and I don't think I actually successfully used Faint, but I brought it a couple times. It's still very good. Like, Fake Out plus Faint, just a good combo. You got strong stab moves. Pikachu gets Thunderbolt and Volt Tackle and Thunder and whatever, and then you got Close Combat, which is just very strong. You could also use High Jump Kick, but I'm not risking that ever when you have Close Combat. Yeah, Hitmonlee also gives support with Wide Guard, and yeah, but outside of the stab moves, they don't learn anything. Like, Hitmonlee gets Rock Slide, and that's pretty much it. I think I get Bullet Punch. Pikachu learns Iron Tail and Grass Knot. Grass Knot is decent, but everything else is just bad. Like, it does not learn any coverage for grass types, and this thing does not learn any dark moves. for psychic types. I think its best dark move is like Fling, and I was really considering like Fling on my Hitmonlee for Poppin to like hit Hypno for damage, because I think if you fling the plates, and I had fighting plate, so if you fling the plates, it's 100 base damage, which probably KO'd depending on the spread. But I didn't end up going with that because it's just very unreliable. Like, not having a reliable dark move just hurt it so much. And same with Pikachu. Like, it was hard to bring these two because they're very good at faking out and using stab moves, but outside of that, it's not that good. Like, if a team's weak to fighting moves, I bring Hitmonlee and just spam close combat, and it's just very good at that. But other than that, not useful. Pikachu does have a couple more uses because of all the support moves it gets, like Nuzzle and stuff, but it still wasn't worth it. And 4-move syndrome definitely hurt Pikachu a lot. Lack of normal gem hurt Hitmonlee a lot. Not having a reliable way to proc the Unburden was annoying. I had to rely on like stat drops from close combat with White Herb or Lumberry from an opponent using status, or Resist Berry. But it's definitely annoying because I'm pretty sure the gem activates if an opponent protects, so you can fake out on a protect, the gem activates, and if they protect, you just go faster. So not having the ability to do that was just annoying. But they're still good for what they cost and what they provided. And now we have the alternative speed control. You got Clefairy, which is 8 points, 4 games, 0-4 KD. This thing was just follow me bot, just there to die. It actually, against Steve, it was doing pretty good damage. Like, the Moonblast Psychic combination did decent damage into his team. But yeah, I just got it for Friend Guard Follow Me. It was useful setting up the Trick Room and Lunoon for that one game. Sulking, very good Trick Room setter, can be taunted, next to Friend Guard, and Intimidate is almost unkillable. Super bulky and has good coverage. You know, lots of good moves. Lunoon, the literal one-hit wonder, brought it 1 game, 1 kill, 1 death, and then it won 1 game. The 1 game it was in. It just did the belly drum extreme speed and died. Like, that's literally all it did. Friend Guard was still useful, even without the Eviolite. I just gave it Sash instead. And, like, even in a max format, you're probably not living attacks, even with the Eviolite. So, Sash is still useful on Clefairy. But yeah, let me go hard Trick Room with Friend Guard because Steve couldn't use spread moves like Explosion to get around the redirection because they wouldn't kill with Friend Guard, and I had Citrus Berry. Yeah, I already talked about that. And then the main problem with these mods is the 4-move syndrome. Sulking has so many good moves, but so little move slots. You got your stab moves, which are very good. You got a bunch of coverage like Grass Knot, Power Gem, Flamethrower. You got setup like Calm Mind, Curse, Nasty Paw, I think. And then you got recovery, And then you have Trick Room, obviously. And it's hard to fit all those moves onto one mon. You have to decide what you want and what you want to get rid of. And it's just it's a tough decision every time you bring it. But for the other two mons, it's like the opposite. They just have no moves. It's like 4-move syndrome, but the other way. Like Clefairy just like you have follow me, protect, and then that's it. It doesn't get helping hand. You have to run like 2 random moves, like filler moves. I almost brought Stealth Rocks against Steve because they're pretty decent into his team, like Pelipper and Jinx and Raichu. Like he likes switching around a lot, so I almost brought Stealth Rocks. But yeah, it just doesn't learn anything useful. You can use the Life Tube, but it's still gonna die. Heal Pulse, it might get Heal Pulse or Healing Wish, that might be better, but yeah, it just learns that moves. Like, lack of helping hand really hurts. And Linoon, like, it learns Shadow Claw, that's it. Extreme Speed and Shadow Claw, and nothing else. Actually, I think it might get Pin Missile, but that's not reliable. Yeah, so most of the time you just bring Belly Drum, Extreme Speed, Shadow Claw, and Protect. And nothing else. It's just it's really one-dimensional. And I was excited to use it because I used Zigzagoon in the Little Cup tournament. And it popped off. It went crazy, but Linoon was just so underwhelming. And so many teams had good spread moves. Like, I was considering it versus Poppin, but like if he just brings Eruption, I can't do anything against that. And Extreme Speed wasn't even KOing things. Like, Umbreon still took Extreme Speeds perfectly fine if it was defensively invested. But yeah. Definitely my weakest mon at the draft. But yeah, that's my team. Went through all my mons and what was good about them, what was bad. I probably missed some stuff, but you know, I made this thing in like 30 minutes, so I definitely missed some stuff about my team or about some matchups or games, but yeah, that's all I can think of for now. So let's move on to some highlights of the season. Yeah, the 77 turn game, very hyped to use my team. Exciting BDSP format, never played before. And you know, Casey just brings the most welcoming thing, you know, for a season opener. It was very fun. Fun game, very entertaining. Glad it happened, you know. I wouldn't have it any other way. So thank you, KC, for thank you, KC, for doing this to me. Yeah, if you haven't seen the game, go watch it. It's going to go down as one of the all-time VBL greats. Like, I'll be telling this to my grandkids, and I'm sure the other coaches will too. Yeah, I'll never forget this, Casey. Yeah, so 1 minimized spammer was so much fun, so I was like, you know, why not play against another? And it was awesome, you know. Abomasnow got some more kills. Yeah, I had a great time, you know. First time was a blast. Second time, you know, it's getting kind of old. Like, I've already done this before, but it was still entertaining. But yeah, I'm glad I could experience this twice in one season, you know. Never happened in any other format, so amazing. One of the greatest one of my like highlights of my Pokemon career, honestly, this stuff. And the last highlight is playing as Poppin, which I was actually mentioning when the schedules or divisions were out. Like, I've never played against Poppin, and we got put in separate divisions. He's the only coach I haven't played in the server. Like, the coaches that were here when I joined in season 2 or 3, I think season 3. But yeah, he was the only coach I hadn't played, and we got to play in finals, and it was pretty fun. You know, I got to kill Umbreon. I got to put it in his place. And yeah, I hope Poppin enjoyed the game, because I sure did. So, final thoughts about the season. I think this format rewards drafting skills way more than other formats, because there's just less mons that can, you know, 8-0 teams every week. There's no Celesteelas, there's no Dragapults, there's no Tapus, there's no like, even Metagross got nerfed. Everything in the format is just weaker, so you have to draft a good team. You can't rely on 1 or 2 mons to just carry you through and, you know, just sweep your enemy. And I really like that about the format. There's no master of all trades, you know, like, there's no mon that's just good at everything. Like, you can't pick a single mon and just dominate the match. It's not that easy. You need to build a team and create specific situations for your mons to do well in. And there just aren't many mons that can do well in every situation. So you need to have some depth in your draft. Like, the only mon that can really do everything is probably Cresselia. And that one's, like, we made that one cost more than the regular cap. No, the lack of items, specifically safety goggles and assault vest, was kind of annoying, especially safety goggles. All the rage powder, spore, sleep powder, all that nonsense was pretty annoying without goggles. Assault vest would have been nice on certain mons, like, could have given it to Arcanine or Nidoqueen. Yeah, but it's just a nice item to have. Not too sad about that one, but safety goggles is the main one, because just dealing with sleep and redirection is pretty annoying, especially when it's so common. Yeah, no max means spread moves are meta. So, you know, next season of VBL, get your wide guard user, because spread moves are everywhere, and that's why I drafted 2 wide guard users in this format. Yeah, that's the main thing I learned from VBLN and this season of VBL-S. You just click spread moves and you win. That's what you do. Last thing, using garbage mons to win was pretty fun. Like I'd never draft a Abomasnow if we're using all Agens. Like, why would you ever draft a Abomasnow? You have the ice cream cone, best hill setter. But yeah, like, stuff like, I don't know, Wormadam, never using that in a 8-gen draft or Nat Dex. You got, what else did I use? Spiritomb? Yeah. It's pretty fun. Like, using mods I've never used before and will probably never use again because of how bad they are. Getting to use mods like that, and seeing people use like other teams use mods like that. But yeah, I really enjoyed my team, and I think this team's probably the best team I've ever drafted. I didn't make a single trade. My weakest link was Lanoon, which is not a big deal. Yeah, I was really happy. The team had plenty of depth, could deal with a lot of matchups and situations, and won me finals. What more could you ask for?